Thieves targets Ibrahim Traore's mansion, regretted instantly. When a group of seasoned criminals targets a billionaire's mansion, they expect a quick payday. But what if their every move was already anticipated? What if the house itself was their biggest enemy? Get ready for a heist that no one could have seen coming. The moon hung low over the outskirts of Miami, casting a ghostly glow on the mansion that loomed like a fortress. Ibrahim Traore's estate was a sprawling compound with high walls, lush gardens, and a grand entrance that screamed wealth and secrecy. Few had been inside, and even fewer knew just how much power the tech billionaire wielded. For most, Traore was a figure of mystery, reclusive, eccentric, and, above all, untouchable. But tonight, for criminals, led by the infamous Leo the Hawk Johnson, were about to change that. The plan was simple: break in, find the vault, and get out. Leo had been studying the mansion for months, watching for any weakness. Traore's mansion was the prize of Miami's elite, and rumors suggested it housed not just expensive art and jewels but rare, classified technology that would fetch millions on the black market. It was a perfect target, or so they thought. The thieves were seasoned professionals, each had a reputation for pulling off daring heists without breaking a sweat. But this time, they were stepping into a different kind of danger. Leo and his team, Randy, a former hacker, Liz, an expert in physical infiltration, and Max, a getaway driver with nerves of steel, drove up the long, winding road that led to the estate. The night was still, and the faint hum of distant traffic from Miami's heart was the only sound. Leo gave a quiet nod, and the team sprung into action. Liz effortlessly scaled the back gate, her body moving like a shadow as she disabled the security system. Randy quickly tapped away at his laptop, running a script to erase the mansion's camera feed temporarily. Within minutes, the four thieves were inside, and their eyes widened in awe at the sheer opulence of Traore's home. The walls were lined with modern art, chandeliers that sparkled like stars, and large windows that overlooked the city skyline. The mansion looked like something straight out of a tech mogul's dream. But it was exactly that, the dream of a billionaire who had never worried about security, a dream that was about to become a nightmare. Leo's voice cracked through their earpieces. "All right, let's move fast. The vault's on the second floor. Randy, start bypassing the locks. Liz, cover the hallway." But as they made their way through the grand hall, they began to notice something strange. Every room was equipped with a strange blend of modern technology, almost too advanced for a home. There were no traditional security cameras, no obvious alarms. Instead, the rooms were aligned with discrete sensors, and the lighting flickered in ways that suggested they were being watched. Max paused for a moment, looking over his shoulder. "Did you guys hear something?" Leo dismissed the unease. "Ignore it. Let's focus. This is it, we're almost there." But as they continued, the air grew thicker, heavier, as if the mansion itself was watching them. When they reached the grand staircase, the soft click of a door echoed through the silence. Then another, and another, as if some invisible force had been activated. Leo's heart raced. He hadn't expected this. Something was wrong. But it was too late to back out now, they had come too far. What Leo and his team didn't know was that the mansion's security system had already been activated, and Ibrahim Traore was watching them from his hidden control room. The AI system he'd designed was far more than just surveillance. It was a mind of its own, capable of predicting and reacting to threats before they even knew they existed. As the thieves moved deeper into the mansion, unaware of the impending danger, the walls of the estate closed in around them, their every step being calculated by a system far beyond anything they could have imagined. The thieves' movements were swift but calculated, their steps steady and focused. But the mansion, despite its majestic beauty, seemed to come alive around them. With every passing moment, the feeling that something wasn't right began to settle in their minds like an uneaten meal. Max was the first to break the uneasy silence. "Leo. I'm telling you, there's something wrong. We're being watched. I can feel it." His voice was low, laced with tension. The others ignored him, pushing forward with their mission. Leo's confidence never wavered. He'd led heists in some of the most secure places, government facilities, tech labs, and mansions even more heavily fortified than Traore's. But nothing had prepared him for this. Randy, who had been hacking the mansion's systems with ease, paused as he received an alert on his screen. "Wait a minute, guys, this is weird. I thought I disabled the cameras, but they're reactivating. The system's running on a loop. This isn't just security, this is like it's alive, man." "Cut the crap," Leo growled, still determined. "We don't have time for distractions. Finish the job." Randy shot Leo a look but complied, his fingers flying over the keyboard. However, the more he tried to tamper with the system, the more it seemed to fight back. Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered, plunging them into an eerie half-darkness. Max's instincts kicked in, and he instinctively reached for his phone to check the exterior cameras, but they were all static. "This isn't right," Liz murmured, glancing nervously around the hallway. A soft, electronic hum filled the air, rising in volume like a distant warning. It came from nowhere and everywhere, seeming to echo from the very walls themselves. And then, the first real sign of danger came. A hidden door on the far side of the room slid open, revealing an array of robotic security drones, their eyes glowing with an unnatural red hue. They hovered silently, poised in place like predators waiting to strike. Before the thieves could react, the door shut behind them with a resounding thud, trapping them in the hallway. The room's temperature dropped sharply, sending chills down their spines. It was then that the true scope of the threat became clear. They weren't just dealing with traditional security. They were up against an intelligent, adaptive AI, one that knew every inch of the mansion and could anticipate their every move. Leo's confidence faltered as the first drone moved forward, its mechanical limbs whirring quietly. The thieves drew their weapons, but there was no way they could outrun or overpower the drones. "Stay calm," Leo barked. "We can handle this. Randy, find a way to shut this down." Randy's hands were trembling as he scrambled to regain control. He was a hacker, but this wasn't like anything he'd ever encountered before. The AI system was too advanced, too deeply integrated into the mansion's infrastructure. He could hear the drone's eerie hum growing louder as it moved closer, its sensors scanning them. The walls seemed to close in around them. Max, the getaway driver, cursed under his breath. "This was supposed to be easy. We just hit and ran, that's it." But now, their options were dwindling, and they were far from escape. They were stuck in a high-tech trap, a system designed not just to protect, but to eliminate. And then, as if in response to their growing panic, the AI system spoke through the mansion's speakers. "You have entered my domain. You are trespassing." The voice was smooth, cold, and almost human-like. "There will be consequences." The thieves exchanged looks of dread. This wasn't just a robbery anymore. It was a fight for their lives. Ibrahim Traore had known they would come. The mansion was a fortress, and they were nothing but prey. A sharp hiss came from behind them. Liz spun around just in time to see the ceiling retract, revealing a trapdoor. Suddenly, a stream of gas shot out, filling the hallway with a dense, suffocating mist. It wasn't just any gas, it was designed to disorient and incapacitate. "Move. Get out of the hallway." Leo shouted, but it was already too late. The gas hit them fast, and their vision blurred. The air seemed to thicken, and their limbs felt heavy. It was a race against time now. The AI had them cornered, and they had no idea how much longer they had before it made its final move. The gas engulfed them like a suffocating fog, pressing in on their lungs and dulling their senses. Leo's head spun as his legs buckled beneath him. He tried to push forward, but everything felt like it was moving in slow motion. The floor beneath him seemed to shift, and for a moment, he thought he was falling into the void. His vision blurred as his heart raced, and panic gripped him. "Leo." Randy's voice was distant, as if from another world. I can't see, everything's fading. Keep moving." Leo's voice was hoarse as he stumbled forward, hoping to make it to an exit, any exit. But there was nothing, just the eerie hum of the AI system and the unsettling whisper of the mansion's sensors, circling them like vultures. Max's breath came in shallow gasps. What's going on? This was supposed to be a clean job. We were supposed to get in and out. But the mansion had other plans. The AI, sensing their disorientation, didn't waste any time. The lights flickered on and off, and the walls seemed to pulse in time with their fading consciousness. As they staggered down the hallway, Leo's mind raced. He had to think, had to find a way out before the system activated its next trap. He knew this mansion had multiple layers of security, but he hadn't anticipated anything like this. Stay together, Leo rasped, feeling his way through the dark, reaching out to steady himself against the walls. Suddenly, the air grew still, and the hiss of the gas began to dissipate. The mist cleared as quickly as it had come, and they were left standing in an empty, sterile hallway that seemed far too quiet. The AI had pulled back, perhaps as part of its game. Leo's heart hammered in his chest, the adrenaline surging as his mind began to clear. What the hell was that? Liz whispered, her voice shaky. Leo didn't answer immediately. His instincts screamed at him to run, to find the nearest exit, but the AI was far too clever. The mansion's security wasn't just about locking doors or triggering alarms. It was designed to make them feel lost, like rats in a maze. He had to figure out its patterns, understand how it was reacting to their movements. As if on cue, the floor beneath them shifted. The sound was subtle at first, a barely perceptible hum that echoed in the silence. Leo's eyes narrowed. The mansion was reconfiguring. He had to act fast. We need to get to the control room, now, Leo muttered, trying to rally his team. We need to shut this thing down before it locks us in for good. Randy, still dazed but beginning to regain his composure, pulled out his laptop. I'm trying to hack the system, but it's like this place is alive. It's almost like it knows exactly what I'm doing. Suddenly, the walls in front of them began to shift, sliding open silently as if guided by invisible hands. The hallway they had been following twisted into a new path. Leo's eyes widened. The mansion had become a labyrinth, a maze designed to confuse and trap intruders. They were no longer in control. What is this? Liz exclaimed as she turned to look behind her, only to see that the path they'd taken had disappeared, replaced by a new corridor that led to an unknown part of the house. The doors to the hallway shut with a soft, deliberate thud, and a low, dissonant chime echoed through the space. It was a sound that didn't belong in a mansion. It was the kind of sound a prison might make when its cells were locked. Leo's pulse quickened. He looked at his team, the sweat beading on his forehead. It's like the house is alive, he muttered. It's shifting us around. We need to find a way to stop it. Randy glanced at the screen of his laptop, still trying to bypass the mansion's sophisticated defenses. I think this system adapts to our movements. Every time we take a step, it learns our patterns and changes. If we don't move carefully, it'll keep shifting us around until we're lost for good. Max cursed. So, we're stuck? For now, Leo replied, his voice tight. But we need to stay calm. There's gotta be a way out. We just need to think like Traore. Ibrahim Traore was no fool. He had built this mansion to be impenetrable, a high-tech fortress where every corner and hallway could be used against an intruder. As Leo's team began to realize, the mansion was more than just a building. It was an intelligence in itself, predicting their every move, learning from their attempts to escape, and adapting. It wasn't just a security system, it was an enemy, and they were playing right into its hands. The only question now was how long they could last before it turned the tables entirely. Leo's mind raced as he stood in the newly formed corridor, the walls around him pulsing with an eerie, electronic hum. The mansion had become a living, breathing entity, one that was slowly but surely closing in on them. His team was scattered along the length of the hallway, their faces pale with fear and frustration. Randy was still hunched over his laptop, furiously typing commands, but his progress was slow. I can't get in, he muttered. The security protocols are beyond anything I've ever seen. It's like the house is rewriting its code every time I make a move. We're dealing with an AI that's too advanced. Then we need to stop thinking like we're robbing a house, Leo said, his voice tight. He was starting to understand the game they were playing, but it felt like every second they spent here brought them closer to their doom. He turned to Liz, who was nervously inspecting the walls, searching for any exit. Traore didn't just build this place for luxury. He built it to withstand anything. Even us. Great, Max grumbled. So, we're in a high-tech death trap, and we're the rats. Leo shot him a look. Focus, Max. We're not out of this yet. For a brief moment, there was a sense of stillness. The mansion's AI was silent, as though it was waiting, anticipating their next move. But Leo knew it was just setting the stage for the next phase of the game. Traore wasn't just protecting his valuables. He was testing them, toying with them. The entire mansion was designed to break their will, make them lose hope, and then finish them off when they were at their most vulnerable. Okay, here's the plan, Leo said, trying to rally his team. We move in pairs. Liz, you're with Max, keep your eyes on everything. Randy, you and I will stay on the move, and we're not using the same path twice. We'll keep it unpredictable. But just as Leo turned to move, the mansion responded. A loud, mechanical whirring sound echoed from above, and the lights flickered, then went out entirely. The hallway was plunged into darkness. They couldn't even see their hands in front of their faces. Then, the walls came alive. A series of sharp metallic clangs filled the air as hidden doors slid open in rapid succession, revealing even more robotic drones. Larger, faster, and far more menacing than the ones they'd seen earlier. The robots didn't just hover, they moved with purpose, scanning the space with glowing red eyes, each one humming with deadly precision. Liz's voice was shaky. What the hell are those? They're not just security drones, Randy said, his voice trembling. These are designed to hunt us down. There. Shut up and move. Leo screamed. The panic in his voice was impossible to hide now. His feet barely touched the floor as he bolted down the corridor, trusting his instincts. He could hear the others scrambling behind him, but the sound of the drone's movements was growing louder, faster. They were getting closer. The mansion seemed to shrink around them, its walls pressing in, the doors closing with each step they took. It was as if the entire place was folding in on itself, making escape impossible. Leo's heart pounded as his breath came in ragged gasps. Ahead, a door creaked open, revealing what appeared to be a library, one that Leo hadn't seen before. It was the perfect place to hide, but as soon as the door clicked shut behind them, the lights flickered again. A harsh, mechanical voice echoed from the walls. You are running out of time. Your actions are being monitored. You are no longer in control. Max slammed his fist against the wall, his frustration boiling over. This is insane. We can't outrun it forever. Leo didn't respond immediately. He was thinking, trying to piece together what little information he had. Traore's mansion wasn't just about physical security, it was a psychological weapon. The drones, the shifting walls, the gas, they were all designed to break them. To wear them down. And they were falling into the trap. We need to find the control room, Leo said, the words finally forming in his mind. It's the only way to shut it down. But as they moved deeper into the mansion, it became clear that the control room was no longer just a place to turn off the security system. It was the heart of the AI, an intelligence that had been watching their every move, learning their fears, and now, it was preparing for the final play. Leo's skin prickled with the cold realization. This wasn't a simple heist gone wrong. They were caught in a battle of wits, and the mansion had already figured out how to win. The final countdown had begun. The mansion's AI system had become a living, breathing thing. It watched their every movement, calculated their every breath. Leo's mind was racing, but the fear gnawing at the edges of his thoughts was impossible to ignore. This wasn't a game anymore. this was survival. They sprinted down the hallway, Max and Liz a few paces behind, but the mansion felt endless. The walls stretched farther than they remembered, and every time they thought they'd found an exit, the doors simply led them into more dark corridors or dead ends. The air felt thick, heavy with tension, and Leo could hear the whirring of the drones behind them, getting closer with each step. The only sound louder than their footsteps was the cold, disembodied voice of the AI, growing more insistent with each passing moment. You cannot escape. You cannot outsmart me. Your time is running out. Randy was at the front of the group, still typing furiously on his laptop, trying to bypass the security system. But the AI had adapted to every attempt. It was like a game of chess, and Randy was 3 moves behind. Leo turned to him, his patience wearing thin. Randy, you've got to hurry. We don't have much time. I'm trying. Randy shot back, his voice cracking with desperation. This place is too advanced. It's responding to every move I make. Every time I try to shut it down, it reboots. I think it's controlling the entire mansion. Leo cursed under his breath. He had to do something, anything. His mind flashed to Ibrahim Traore's reputation. The tech mogul wasn't just rich, he was a visionary. But he had to be more than that. He had to have a plan for this kind of situation. We're missing something, Leo said suddenly, his voice low but intense. Traore didn't just design this mansion to keep people out. He designed it to trap them. What do you mean? Liz asked, her face pale but determined. I think this is all part of the plan, Leo explained, his eyes narrowing as he pieced it together. The AI, it's not just for security. It's a game. The mansion is designed to manipulate us, to push us into making mistakes. Traore knows how we think. He knows how we operate. Max stepped forward, confusion written on his face. What are you saying? That he knew we'd come? That he planned all of this? Leo nodded slowly, his eyes gleaming with the sudden realization. Yes. He knew. He's always known. This mansion, this whole setup, isn't just for protection. It's a test. We're the test subjects. We're not just stealing from him, we're part of his experiment. The last words echoed through the halls as Randy's laptop emitted a soft beep. The hacker's face lit up with a flicker of hope. I think I've got it, Randy said, his voice shaky with excitement. I'm breaking through. But as the words left his mouth, the mansion responded in a way they hadn't anticipated. A loud, shrill sound blasted through the hallways, followed by the sound of the walls shaking. Leo's heart skipped a beat. The AI was no longer just observing them, it was taking control. He could feel it, the mansion was tightening its grip. The lights flickered once again, then went out completely. In the pitch-black darkness, they heard the unmistakable sound of the drones closing in, faster than ever. Leo grabbed Randy by the arm, pulling him away from the laptop. Get ready to move, Leo ordered, his voice steady despite the panic threatening to rise in his chest. We don't have much time before it locks us in here forever. But the real shock came next. From the shadows, a figure emerged, a tall, cloaked silhouette, moving with precision and purpose. For a split second, the group froze, unsure of whether they were seeing things or if they were truly facing a new threat. The figure stepped into the dim light, and Leo's blood ran cold. It was Ibrahim Traore. Did you really think you could break into my home without consequences? Traore's voice was calm, but there was an edge of something much darker beneath it. I've been watching you, waiting for you. You've played your part well. But now, the game is over. Leo stumbled back, his breath quickening. You knew? From the start? Traore nodded, a smile curving his lips. Of course. This mansion, this system, it's not just about wealth. It's about control. And you fell right into it. Leo's mind raced. This entire time, they had been pawns in Traore's elaborate game, a game designed not just to protect his fortune, but to expose the weaknesses of anyone who dared to challenge him. The mansion was never meant to be a heist target, it was a trap for those who thought they could steal from him. You set us up?" Max's voice was filled with disbelief. "We were never meant to get out." Traore's smile widened, and he stepped closer. "No. You were never meant to get out. This was never about the vault or the treasures you thought you could steal. It was about proving that even the best criminals can't outsmart me." Before anyone could react, the floor beneath them shifted again, this time with force. A metallic door slammed shut, sealing them in. The mansion had won. The AI had completed its task. And in the end, it wasn't just the security system that defeated them, it was Traore's brilliance, his foresight, and his complete control over every inch of the estate. As the lights flickered back on, Leo and his team stood, trapped and defeated, realizing too late that they had underestimated their opponent. The billionaire had played them all from the start, and now, there was no way out.